Alright guys, Robert here. This is my jugs that I use out here. Just all it is just a pool noodle with a PVC pipe, piece of PVC pipe run through it. I've got them set at about, I don't know, 7 or 8 feet, something like that. Between 6 and 8 feet. What we're using today for our bait, this Mike over at Catfish Pro will hook you up with some of this. Some Catfish Pro stink bait. This here is the chicken liver flavor. We're gonna see how it works out today. He's got all kinds of different baits. He's got chicken liver, he's got skipjack. I've done real good with the skipjack on my jugs, but a lot of people ask me what I use on my jugs. This is what we're gonna be using today. Most of the time I use hot dogs, but today for this little application we're gonna use some of that right there. You can look at my hook there. I've got some old pieces on there from the last time that I was down here, and didn't do so well that day, but hopefully we can come up with something today. Taking a little bit small cubes. It's early spring still, so these catfish, they don't want nothing real big. Well, I believe that's a 8/0 circle hook that I got there. We're gonna put these dudes out there and let them soak for a little while. See how they come out. Well, we're gonna cruise up through here. I normally coast up through here and put them out about every 50 feet or so. Don't want them too close, because especially if the wind's blowing any at all, the wind will get in them, tangle them all up. You don't want that. One of the reasons why I run my jugs so shallow over here, like I said, we're between 6 and 8 feet, something like that, I guess, because there's so many trees and limbs and stuff in here. The shallower that you got your jug set, the less you're gonna get hung up, trust me. I've been hung up on it. Now if you see that one there, it's a different color. That one there is the skipjack. That's the ones I was using them one time. I guess it was still left on over on here. Where we're at over here at Glen Springs Lake today, legally, I say, you can have 10 jugs out. I have seen some guys over here with more than that, but 10 jugs through the summer. I'm not exactly sure what the dates are, but through the summer you can't fish on Saturdays and Sundays with the jugs. Winter time is wide open. But I got some of these jugs. Some of them's red, some of them green, some of them blue. I like to mix them up like that. It's easier to count them when you're way across the other side of the lake trying to see them. You can see, well, I got 4 blue ones out there, I got 4 black ones out there, 4 green ones, so on and so forth. Hope you guys are enjoying your week, whichever day this is. It's about 15 minutes to 1 here. I'm not an early riser by no means, so I got up this morning about 9 o'clock, laid around the house, ate me a biscuit or 2, watched a little YouTube, watched a couple of guys on YouTube, watched the news, said, well, it's supposed to rain here for the next couple of days, so I figured if I was going to get out and make a video this week, I better get out of here today and get on it. Next couple of days may not be so good. We're going to get out here, we're going to try it, see what we can come up with. You guys stand by, we'll see what we get. We out here catfishing today, but catfishing. We're gonna try to catch a couple of these little bluegill for the next ride. Caught one. It's a little early for the bluegill. They are starting to see a few of them on the beds. Just not very many. The one that I caught, he's not that big. But they make real good flathead bait for the river down there. So where we're fishing at is up under some little trees there. Just throwing it up in there, up in behind there. Try to get it as close to the bank as you can without getting hung up. That's the main problem. Just a little old floating bugs, all I got on there. Sometimes I'll put a nymph on there to let it float, let it sink down about a foot or two. That might be what we wind up having to try for it later on today. I'm not really trying to catch a bluegill that much today. I mean, I'll catch a couple if I can, put them in the freezer for some catfish bait. But I'm not mainly fishing for bluegill today. I was hoping I could catch one there on video, but while we're sitting around here not doing nothing, waiting for the catfish to start biting on them jugs out there. I've been here about 30 minutes since we put the jugs out. We ain't got a bite yet. So I brought my little fly rod here. I said if I get over there, the last couple of times I've been over here, like I said, I hadn't done very good at all with the catfish. I figured I'd try to maybe catch a bluegill or some shell crackers. There's some big shell crackers in here. Some of the guys that fish over here say it's some of the biggest shell crackers they ever seen in here. I think last year I only caught a handful of shell crackers. The year before I caught a whole bunch. I see a couple of little small bluegill, some of them little bitty ones. There's a good size one right there looking at it. He'll reach up there and pop it. They're just checking it out. They're not that interested in it yet. I think it's a couple weeks early. They're just not that interested in it yet now. Maybe they'd come over here with some worms and catch them dudes. They ain't too interested in these bugs yet. I was hoping we could get one on video here. I like watching them using that little top water jig there, or float bobber thing there. Watching them blow up on that thing, that's pretty cool. That's why I like fishing them on top water mostly, instead of using the nymphs under the water. But hopefully I can get him again here. See if I can get this thing back over here to him. I don't want to get too close over to them because I'll spook them off. Normally once you start getting some bites, you catch one, they'll start biting. Turns them on, I guess you could say. The rest of them, they come out from the edge of the bank there and they start getting curious of what's going on over there. But these dudes are a whole lot of fun. Last year, I come out here, I caught the limit like 3 days in a row, and me and some other guys was with me, and that last day that we fished, we come caught the limit in about 2 or 3 hours and went home the rest of the day. And I mean, we cleaned fish all day long. There he goes. He missed it. So they're biting them. They're just not that interested in it. That was probably the one that I just missed there. I think it was a little one. He wasn't that big. At least the wind's halfway cooperating with me today, not blowing me all around. Try to get over here underneath this other tree over there. Hopefully, I'll just take a look on that. There's some guys bass fishing on the other side of me over here. They rode by and seen me throwing this thing out here, this little fly rod. That's what I like catching the bluegill with. That guy said, ain't no way in the world he'd be able to throw that thing like I do. He said he'd have that thing wrapped all around his neck. I told him, I said, yeah, it took me about 2 years to really get the knack of this thing. I come out here with a friend of mine one time, and he had one, and he was out fishing me. He was catching about 5 to my 1, and I seen right real quick I was doing something wrong. But like I said, these little old bluegill, they're just not quite in here yet. Another 2 or 3 weeks, and come over here and we would have done caught 4 or 5 by this time. They're just not in here yet. They're starting to bed up, but it's gonna be a couple more weeks before they actually get up in here. But this is backside of Glen Springs Lake. I don't know if we can see them or not, but right out there where my jugs are lined up through there. Like I said, we're just out here piddling around waiting for them jugs to start bouncing up and down. It don't look like it's gonna be a very good day to jug fish, but it beats sitting around the house, that's for sure. But like I was saying in the intro there, we got some new camera mounts here we're trying out. Hopefully they're gonna turn out and do what I want them to do. Because the setup that I had earlier in the last couple of videos, it was working, but it just wasn't making a good quality video, I guess is what I'm trying to come out and say. I wasn't happy with it. I wasn't happy with it at all. This here, it seems to be doing the trick. I mean, you don't ever know until you get these videos downloaded. Then you start editing them and stuff. You get in there and you start seeing things that you don't notice out here while you're recording. So we moved over here on another little bluegill bed that I fished last year, and looked like there were some bigger bluegills over here on this bed than that other one. A lot more for sure. When I pulled in here, I bet you there was 20 or 30 of them that swam out. So we moved over here. Nothing real big, but some bluegill for some catfish bait. Looks like we may have a catfish on the jug. We got one over here is bouncing up there. We're gonna go check him out. See what we got on there. Could be a damn turtle. If it's a catfish, it's not a very big one. We're gonna go check him out. On there. I don't think it's a very big one. He'll fit in a frying pan, that's for sure. Yes, that one will sure for sure fit in a frying pan. That's some good little old eater catfishes there. Out here on Glen Springs Lake. Let's see, we in 17 foot of water here. Caught that little old boy. He's not very, very big. Just for kicks and giggles. Oh yeah, he's even gonna talk to us. Ain't that sweet of him? I'm gonna estimate him about 3 pounds. Just for kicks and giggles. I got my new set of scales in the mail from Amazon the other day. We're gonna put him on these scales and just see what he does with it. Let's see here. Get these dudes zeroed out. There we go. Yeah, I missed it a little bit. 4.32. He's not too bad for a little old catfish. That's a good little eater size right there. That's the first one on the jug this year. Now, we're back in that bluegill bed. Let's see if he's ready to bite. Oh yeah, there he is. See if I can keep him on here and get him out of that grass. The darn grass is so bad here. He swallowed that dude. Tell me he didn't want that dude. He swallowed it. Try to get that thing out of his mouth there without cutting him all up. I don't know. I'm gonna put him in a live well with the catfish. He ain't gonna like it too much. He really ain't gonna like that grease bath I'm gonna give him here. I believe he's big enough to fit in the grease. All right. See if we can get over there and get back on another one. This is almost too much fun. Well, old gnats are so bad today. You're looking at it. I got about 2 or 3 of them over there swimming over toward it. They're a bunch of little ones. Try to get over a little closer to the beds. There we go. One jumped up there at it. It didn't take it quite in. There we go. So we can get right through it. On these bluegill beds, sometimes they'll bite and sometimes you may have to throw it out there 3 or 4 times for them to get them to hit it. They're real picky. I hope I had spooked them off there yet. I see a couple of the little ones, but I don't really see any big ones. Like I said, it's still early for the bluegills to be on the beds right now. But they are some on. This is almost as much fun as skipjack fishing. Hope you guys watched that skipjack video the other day that I put out. If you didn't, go back and check it out. That was so much fun. It should have been against the law, I believe is what the title was. I made that video just for one guy. I hope he sees that video because he was crying last week because he wasn't catching no skipjack. So he says. I think he was just saying that, pulling my leg. But I made that video just for him. The catfish over here at Glen Springs has been pretty hard for the last couple of years. This thing has been fished so hard over the last, well, 5, 6 years, however long COVID's been. When COVID hit, man, all of them guys started coming on here catfishing. They could see that there was an easy way to catch them catfish. And this thing is just so heavily fished for catfish now that it's unreal. I mean, it's just unreal how hard this thing is catfished right now. A lake this size, you wouldn't think it would be that bad, but it is. And they're starting to slow down now in the catfishing. There's still a couple of local guys that come in here and fish a lot. For the biggest part, the guys that come over here, those coming over here every day fishing, they're not coming in here so much no more because they got so bad. I mean, there were some guys coming in here, coming every day, catching the limit every day. And I mean, as far as the catfish over here, it killed this lake. Like I said, it is what it is. When COVID hit, that's what you got. All right, guys. All right, guys, we got another catfish jug up. We're gonna run over here and see what's on it. Might not be nothing on it. I just looked over and seen it setting up. I haven't seen it move. So there might not be nothing on it. We're gonna ride over here and see. Looks like it may be down. Oh yeah, he's still on it. Look like Miss Renee may get her catfish dinner after all. She's been throwing a fit once with the catfish. We might wind up with the bass here today, who knows? Oh yeah, he's still on there. He's gonna be about the same size as that other one. He's gonna be about 3 or 4 pounds. How you hooked there, dude? Maybe just a tad smaller than the other one, and he was whisker hooked. I mean, whisker hooked. I was lucky to get that dude. But that's the second one. They finally turned on up in here. We've done caught 2 in the last 30 minutes. That's a good sign. Way over here in about 9 foot of water right here where this guy was at. We're gonna put him in the light well. Bait this jug up and throw it back out there. And we're gonna see if we can get another one on the hook. All right, guys. We're back over here at the bluegill spot. See if we can catch a couple more of these old bluegills. We caught that last catfish there. We had some technical difficulties. Our battery died on our camera. So we had to fix that. Take care of the catfish, get him all in the well. Bait up our jug. One thing after another. But anyways, we're back over here on the bluegill. Trying to see if they're gonna bite some more. Hopefully they will. I think whenever I come up in here, I may have spooked them off. And I don't think they're back on the bed yet. I hadn't seen them yet, if they did. But I still got my jugs out there, floating around. We've caught 2 catfish in about 30 minutes. Over here, that's not too bad. At least I hadn't goose egged. Here the last couple of times that I've been over here, I hadn't done nothing but goose egged. Like I said, these bluegill, I see a couple now. They're just now getting back on the bed. Here they come. Yep. There's a couple of them there. So maybe we'll get a bluegill here now. Fire it up. Some of my jugs are floating in here kind of shallow toward me. I don't really want that. I I want them to kind of float out there to the deeper spot. Up toward the middle some. But, of course, you know the wind's not going to work with you. It's always going to work right the opposite of what you want it to do. So, as of right now, I got 4 jugs right here, almost right beside me. And then that would make, what, 6 on out there in the middle. So, but the ones closer to me here, haven't had any bites on them yet. These old bluegill, they done got lockjaw. They quit biting on me for some reason. As soon as I turn the camera off though, I'll get a bite. It never fails. That's what it was over there where we was at that first spot. I was over there catching a couple of bluegill. I turn the camera on. I throw back out there, I wouldn't get nothing. Cut the camera off, I'd get a bite. That's the first cast, I'd get a bite. We're gonna sit here. Let the camera run. We got a good fresh battery in there. And we got a bluegill on. This looks like a little one. Trying to keep him up out that grass as much as I can. But we got another one. He'll make a good catfish bait. He ain't quite frying size, but he will make some catfish bait. Little male, he peeing. He just a peeing. Nice little bluegill. Some Glen Springs bluegills. Last time I cooked up a ton of bluegill back last summer. It didn't last long at all. I got Mr. Sneaky Snake coming around the corner here. I hope he don't think he's gonna get up in the boat with me. Hope y'all are watching my jugs out there. And that right at the moment, I gotta keep an eye on Mr. Sneaky Snake. Where did he go? Make sure he don't try to get up in the boat with me. No, he's going the other way now. I guess he decided he didn't want to come over here where I was at. He gonna come swim right across my bluegill bed though. I'd laugh if a big old bass would jump right up. I don't know, he may be in camera shot now, but see him swimming across the water right there, little sneaky snake. There he is right there. He's not a poisonous snake, he's just an old water snake. But still, I don't want him in my boat. He might hurt me worse than I'll hurt him if I don't see him. He get up in this boat, get wrapped around one of them fishing poles, and I didn't see him get wrapped around it. I reached down there and grabbed a hold of that thing. Even though he ain't poisonous, he might hurt me. He make me hurt myself. they used to over here at the bait shop every morning when those guys would come in. they'd take all the dead minnows out of the bait shop in the mornings, take them down there to the fishing pier, throw them in the water for the snakes. They had about 4 or 5 pet snakes out there. And I don't know if you're scared of snakes, but I'm not. But there's some guys with the fish over here. Boy, they'd see them snakes, they'd pack up and they was gone. They wasn't nothing but pets. All it was those little water snakes. But several of the guys, they come over here, them old women, they'd sit over and they sit out there with a cane poles, about 2 or 3 of them. They'd sit out there about 30 minutes, and here come a couple of the snakes up there. They'd pack up and they'd be gone. It was the funniest thing. But they wouldn't hurt you. They just were looking for something to eat. That's all they was doing. Like I said, those guys was feeding them in the bait store up there in the mornings. And they were just looking for something to eat. A lot of those guys was pouring their minnows out. You know, at the end of the day, they get done fishing. I just take their minnows, all the dead minnows, and throw them out in the water, not really thinking about it, but that's what them snakes was looking for. Miss Renee called me earlier, said she was babysitting, and then after she got done babysitting and taking care of the grandkids, she had an errand to go run, and then she was going to be headed home somewhere around 6 o'clock. So I told her that I guess, was going to fish until about 6 o'clock. Yesterday I was under the weather a lot. I don't know what was wrong with me. It was like I just couldn't get enough sleep. I bet you I slept. I know I was in the bed for over 24 hours straight, and probably slept 20 of them hours. It's just like I just couldn't get enough sleep. We went to Pickwick a few days ago, and I was out there in that sun and for 2 days straight, and that sun just wore me out. And I guess it just finally just caught up with me. And it didn't help none being out there, you know, in that sun, that's for sure. And a couple of the grandkids has been sick with the flu. And at first, I thought that's what I had. I said, uh-oh, here we go. I done got caught up with this flu mess. But actually, it wasn't too bad. Oh, I got a bite. I missed him. At the time I turned around and looked around there on my jug, he hit it, and I missed it. Where I'm positioned up right here is not a good spot for me to see because the sun, the way the sun is shining, it's glare. There's one on the top of that water, and I can't see my little doodad there. There's Mr. Bluegill. But we've done all right today so far. We got 2 catfish and, I don't know, 7 or 8 bluegill, I guess. They ain't very big, but they'll use for catfish bait, that's for sure. There's Mr. Bluegill. Bunch of little ones in here. Sometimes over here you have to weed through the little ones to get to the big ones. Uh-oh. That's a better one. He'd be big enough to fit the grease. Not quite as big as your hand. Another male, he gonna pee all over me. But pretty, got some pretty colors to him. That's for sure. All right, there's me another one. Darn old gnat's over here about to wear me out. This one here, I don't know, he's gonna be on the borderline. That old coon-tailed moss is over here so bad. Half the time whenever you get them in that coon-tailed moss there, you don't get them, they'll come off on you. But it only took me about a minute and 30 seconds to get that little dude. He, I don't know, I think that's my hand. He's a little smaller than my hand. I think he's gonna be here. I may catch another one. I'm gonna sit here for, I don't know, about 45 minutes before I pick up my jugs out here. However, we did catch several bluegill, caught those 2 catfish. Might get a bonus catfish. If we do, we'll stick it in this video, but I don't think we're gonna do anything right now. We've been out here about 5 hours, caught 2 catfish. Bluegill are starting to bed up. They're small ones. They're not no big ones yet. I figure it's gonna be another couple of weeks before the big ones started getting on the beds. Really, I'm after those shell crackers. Really, the little ones are fun to catch. Like I said, I just use them. I'll put them in the freezer and use them for flathead bait down at the river. I'll throw them out in the freezer, freeze them, put them on a hook, whole, you know, 5-6 inches bluegill. Use them down at the river for some flatheads and stuff. Sometimes they'll, you know, you can do pretty good with the flatheads with them guys. But anyways, we appreciate you guys watching the videos. Make sure you hit that like button if you made it this far. I know it's going to be a bunch of in and outs. Probably going to be a whole lot of editing on this video here. I think I looked at the thing a while ago. I think I got about 14 or 15 clips. And most of that is just dead, so I edit out all the dead stuff in there where I go 20 minutes without saying a word because there's nothing to talk about, nothing to bite. I edit all that out. So, like I said, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you ain't subscribed yet, share it with your friends if you like this video, and we'll catch y'all the next time. Peace!